Well, hello, friends. I hope you're having a great day today. Welcome to Wednesday's edition of Take 5. We're in the series that we've called The Cheerful Giver. And right now we are in the message that is entitled The Principle of First. We learned yesterday, we talked about the firstborn, and we've talked a little bit about first fruits. All of those things, when you read them in the Old Testament, firstborn, first fruits, and tithe, they all are the same thing. What we did understand yesterday was that the principle of first says that the first portion, that tithe, that first fruit, that firstborn offering, whatever you want to call it, that is the redemptive portion. In other words, when you give that first portion to God, the rest is redeemed or preserved, or God adds value to it, whatever you want to call it. Some people really think that as long as they give the right amount of the tithe that they're okay. I probably used to think that at some point in my life. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that I did. But after studying the Bible and studying tithing for as long as I have now, I just don't believe that anymore. I believe God expects us not to just give the right amount, but He expects us to give the right amount first. Exodus chapter 23 says the first of the first fruits of the land are to be brought to the house of the Lord. So we're commanded there to bring the first of the first fruit, the first of the tithe, not the last, but the first. That's the portion that has the power of redemption. That's why we need to give it to God first. It's a heart test. It's a motive test. God is trying to see, will you put Him first, even over your needs, over your fears, even over your wants and desires. He wants to know, will you put Him first? And if you will, He has promised that He will redeem the rest of our increase. Now think about this, if you will. God is able to take 90% and bless it and cause it to do more than 100% of our increase that's cursed when we don't bring the tithe to God. So we must make sure we don't just bring the 10%, but we bring the 10% first, because that's the way the principle appears over and over throughout the Scripture. Real quickly, just to illustrate this, when you get your paycheck, the first thing that we should do is give our tithe to God. We should not first pay Southern Pine or Visa or Regions Mortgage or whatever the case might be, Dish Network or Verizon or AT&T. We must pay God first. And the reason that we do that is because God has the power and the ability, and He's made the promise that He will bless the rest of our finances if we'll give to Him first. Visa can't do that. Regions Mortgage can't do that. Southern Pine can't do that. They can keep the lights on, but Southern Pine cannot bless the rest of your income if you pay them first. So we've learned that not only does the Bible tell us how much to bring, it tells us what portion to bring. And the portion that we're to bring to God, we've learned it. It's the firstborn, it's the first fruit, and it is the tithe that always comes first. Now, not only do we learn that we are to bring the right amount and bring the right portion, but God also tells us where to bring it. And He tells us every time to bring the tithe to the house of God. It didn't say give to the television ministry, and I believe in TV ministry. It didn't say even give to missions. And missions is near and dear to the heart of God, but that must come after we bring the tithe to God. So make sure that we get this thing in order and make sure we bring it to the right place. Proverbs chapter 3 gives us a little more insight. He says, honor the Lord with your possessions and with the first fruits of all your increase, and your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will overflow with new wine. Notice what he said. Honor the Lord with your possessions and with the first fruits of your increase. Your increase. That is everything that brings increase to you. If it's a birthday gift, if it's a bonus at work, if you sell a goat, if you sell a car, however you increase, God intends for us to bring a firstborn, first fruit, tithe, whatever you want to call it, God intends for us to bring that to Him. And He says if we'll honor Him with all of our increase, that He would bless our barns, they would be filled to capacity, and our vats would overflow with new wine. Now, if we take this for ourselves instead of bringing it to God, we have read where we bring a curse upon ourselves. Blessed is to have supernatural favor working for us. Cursed is to have supernatural favor working against us. And I promise you, you'd rather have it working for you than against you. So it's very important that we do this God's way so that we can avoid that curse that comes with being disobedient. When you look into the Old Testament again, you can see a picture of this. Joshua and Israel defeat Jericho, the first city in Canaan, as they come in. And God said that they were to destroy everything there in that city. It had been assigned for destruction, but all the gold and silver was to be brought to the house of the Lord. Now you may be wondering, why would God expect all of it? Because this was the first city that they were going to defeat and capture, and this was the tithe on the whole promised land. And God expected them to give it. He said, you give me the first city and you can have the rest. Well, if you're familiar with the story, you know that didn't happen just like it should. Everybody did what they should except one guy named Achan who kept some stuff. He saw a good-looking Babylonian garment and he kept that, and he found some gold and silver and he kept that. Well, it cost Israel defeat at the hands of the enemy in the next city that they went to conquer. Joshua was praying and God revealed to him what happened. And so Joshua called out Achan and his family and said, Achan, tell me what has happened. Achan told him, I saw these things. I know we weren't supposed to do it, but I saw it and I kept it for myself. And Joshua told Achan, you have brought a curse on this whole nation because of what you have done. And God is so serious about this thing. He told Joshua, take Achan, take his family, take his livestock, take his tents, all his possessions, stone them to death, and then burn them with fire to get rid of that curse that is in your midst, and then obey me and I'll bless you. And that's what they did, and that brought Israel out from that curse and into the blessing of God. God is serious about this tithe thing. Back in Malachi chapter 3, he says, if you rob me with the tithe and offering, you are under a curse. The whole nation is under a curse. With a $31.5 trillion debt in our nation right now, and that constantly rising, I wonder if that could be some of the reason we have that situation that we have in America today, because so many people are keeping back that tithe from God and not bringing it to Him. I'm telling you, if we'd learn to be cheerful givers, we could live in the abundant blessings of God like we have never imagined. Well, hey, I've got to get out of here. I look forward to being with you tomorrow on Thursday's edition of Take 5. Until then, God bless you. Have a great day. Trust the Lord, my friend. He will never fail you.